It wasn't a dog, something watched from the yard. Not big, not classical monster size, small, wrong, unsettling in a way that makes your skin tighten. And in 1973, in Enfield, Illinois, one man swore he found that something staring back at him. Enfield was the kind of town where everyone knew a neighbor's name, and late-night sightings usually meant raccoons in the trash. So when Henry McDaniel, a local resident, told the MT Vernon Register News about what he'd seen in his yard, people listened. Not because Henry was a loud, eccentric storyteller, just because he sounded serious, quiet, certain. Henry described something weird, a short, squat body with 3 legs, yes, 3, 2 little arms, and eyes the color of flashlights, pink, he said, like to glowing marbles. He told reporters it had 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights, imagine that, to bright, unnatural dots where eyes should be, watching, unblinking. He saw it one evening, close to the house, then he told the police. And that's where this story stops being a late-night tall tale and starts feeling real, because the police found marks. There were scratches along the screen door like something had tried to get in or had been rubbed against it. And outside, footprints, they looked kind of like a dog, except they had 6 toes, 6, not 5, not 4, 6. People tried to explain it, maybe a miscounted print. Maybe a dog with a deformed paw, maybe raccoon, bad lighting, nothing supernatural at all. And sure, those are valid, but Henry was adamant. He told the newspaper, if they do find it, they will find more than one, and they won't be from this planet. I can tell you that. He didn't say that to be funny, he said it like someone who'd seen something that didn't fit any category he knew. 3 legs is the detail that bothers me the most. Locomotion with 3 legs is awkward for a vertebrate. It suggests something either malformed or something designed to move another way entirely. And those eyes, the pink flashlight description, that's not just reflection. Henry used that phrase repeatedly, 2 lights, close together, intense. There were no clear follow-ups, no swarm of sightings. Just those marks, the prints, Henry's report. The kind of thing that sits in a county paper for a day, then folds into the stack of local oddities until someone like you or me digs it up decades later and lets it breathe again. Picture this, a humid summer night, porch light humming, you walk out for a cigarette or to check the mailbox. The air smells of cat grass and oil from the street lamps. Then 2 lights catch you, not reflectors, not the shine of an eyelid, but lights that stare. You freeze, it steps closer. You see the 3-legged stance. You don't run because your brain decides maybe it's a trick of the light, and only later do you dare to look for prints. Would you call the cops, tell a neighbor, or would you close the door quietly and pretend you'd imagined it? Henry did the opposite. He told people that's why the scratches and prints were examined at all. We like neat endings, we like it was a raccoon and case closed, but some stories persist because they refuse neatness. The Enfield monster, or whatever you want to call the 6-toed visitor, is one of those little open wounds in the map of the unknown. A mismatch between what we expect and what the dark delivered. It's small, it's weird, it makes you tilt your head and wonder. There was never a follow-up chase, no dramatic reveal, no clear answer. Just Henry's words, the police records, the prints, and the scratches, echoes of something that visited a yard one summer and then left. Maybe it was a lonely creature lost from its group. Maybe it's a trick of footprints and imagination. Or maybe, and this is the part that gets under your skin, it was something small and wrong enough to remind us how unreliable the comfortable world can be at night. Next time you see a weird print on soft soil, look twice. Not every mystery needs a monster. But some monsters, they would prefer the small towns and the quiet nights. They prefer to be noticed by someone like Henry, calm, honest, and willing to say what he saw.
Not all haunted dolls wear porcelain faces and Victorian dresses. When we think about haunted dolls, our minds usually jump to the classic image: porcelain faces, old-fashioned curls, the kind of toy you'd see sitting in a dusty attic or in some forgotten trunk. But the story I'm about to share flips that idea on its head, because this isn't about some antique doll from the 1800s. Nope. This is about Elsa. Yes. The Elsa from Frozen. Back in Christmas 2013, a family in Houston received what seemed like a perfectly innocent gift: a singing Elsa doll from Disney's hit movie Frozen. You press a button on her necklace, she recites lines from the movie, and of course she sings Let It Go. Pretty normal, right? For the first 2 years, everything worked exactly as expected. English only. Cute, cheerful, nothing unusual. But then, in 2015, something strange happened. Without warning, Elsa began alternating between English and Spanish. No button to switch the language, no settings to tweak. Just random. Imagine your kid's toy suddenly speaking another language without being told to. That's already a little unsettling, but here's the kicker: over the years, the family never once changed Elsa's batteries. Yet somehow, she kept going. Sometimes even speaking and singing when her switch was turned off. Finally, in December 2019, the family decided enough was enough. Elsa was just too creepy. They threw her away, bagged her up, tossed her outside with the garbage. Done deal. Or so they thought. A few weeks later, the family discovered Elsa again, this time sitting inside a bench in their living room. Nobody in the house admitted to bringing her back inside. The kids swore they didn't do it, and the mother believed them. After all, what kid digs through outdoor trash in the middle of winter just to sneak a doll back inside? But Elsa wasn't finished. When they pressed the button again, she no longer sang in English at all, only Spanish. The family tried again to get rid of her. They double-bagged the doll and placed her at the bottom of the garbage, making sure the trash collectors took her away. Then they went on a trip, figuring this was the end. When they returned, Elsa was waiting for them, this time in their backyard. At this point, the family decided that if Elsa wanted to haunt someone, it wasn't going to be them. They mailed the doll to a family friend in Minnesota. He strapped Elsa to the front bumper of his truck. As far as anyone knows, that's where she still is. She hasn't made her way back yet. Now here's the question: what was going on with that Elsa doll? Was it faulty wiring, a weird prank, or something else entirely, something that just didn't want to let it go? So the next time you hear that familiar Disney song playing in an empty room, maybe check your toys. And if you ever think about tossing out a doll, make sure it stays gone.
What would you do if your trusted school teacher told you that the only way to be saved was through blood and fire? Florida is known for its sunshine, beaches, and theme parks. But in 2012, in the city of St. Petersburg, a story broke that shocked the entire community. A story that mixed trust, faith, and something far darker. At the center of it all was a 35-year-old school teacher named Danielle Harkins. On the surface, she looked like anyone else. Professional, respected, even caring toward her students. But behind closed doors, something inside her had started to change. Friends began to notice her acting strangely in June of that year. She had suddenly developed a fascination with demonic rituals and spoke about dark spirits in everyday conversation. No one could have predicted what she was about to do next. One evening, just before dusk, Danielle gathered 7 of her former students near the St. Petersburg Pier. It wasn't a class. It was a ritual. Danielle told the kids they were infected by demons and that the only way to cleanse themselves was through pain. First, she instructed them to cut their own skin, claiming it would let the evil spirits escape. But that wasn't enough. She told them that if they didn't burn the wounds shut, the demons would return. One boy hesitated. Danielle grabbed a lighter and held it to his hand, but the wind kept blowing out the flame. Frustrated, she poured perfume over his skin and then set it on fire. The boy screamed as the flames burned into his flesh, leaving him with second-degree burns. Another teenager wasn't so lucky. She cut his neck with a broken bottle and then pressed a heated key to the wound to seal it shut. What's even more disturbing, none of the students spoke up. They didn't run, they didn't tell their parents. It was only after a friend of one of the teens, someone who wasn't even there, heard what had happened and raised the alarm, that police were notified. When authorities finally arrested Danielle Harkins for aggravated battery and child abuse, she never fully explained what she believed or what religion required such horrific acts. Police investigators said she simply wouldn't say why. It's unsettling to think about. A teacher, someone children are supposed to trust, turning into the very thing they needed protection from. And the scariest part, to this day, no one really knows what she was trying to achieve.